Am I really that much? And breaking these niggas down like a camel. You don't really to throw you out.
Hey lovelies, so this video is about to be something very deep. It's a heavy topic for me. Um, it can get a little emotional, hopefully not. But so I made a TikTok video, a put a finger down TikTok video explaining my situation about how I found out that after 25 years, the man who I thought was my dad is not my dad,
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
and how I found out that it's, that I'm actually a sibling, like I'm not an only child. So I decided to go into more detail on YouTube because on TikTok you can only do, the longest you can do is 10 minutes, and people had a lot of questions. I seen a lot of comments on TikTok. People were messaging me, asking me so many questions. And I ain't gonna lie, this is not something that I want to sit up here and keep repeating over and over and over and over again.
Said it one time, I'm not going to say it no more. I got to get this out.
And so I said, why not just make one big video explaining everything? So I'm gonna start from the top. So my mom told me, she let me know that this guy messaged her on Facebook, this random guy, random to me, messaged her on Facebook and said that he had some important information about me. And he provided her with his number and said, text him. So she texted him and didn't get a response back. So she thought nothing of it because she gets random messages from guys all the time. And she thought maybe he was just trying to use that as a way to get her attention or something. Because she said she did know him. She told me, she was like, oh yeah, that was one of the dudes I used to mess with way back in the day or whatever. So, you know, we didn't think nothing of it. A couple weeks go by, and basically, I get a message on Facebook, not from him, but from another guy saying that he had important information about my mom. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's tea? Like, what's happening? So he said to call him. So I woke up, I called him, and he was like, hey Amari, I have somebody who wants to speak to you. They wanted permission to call you first. They didn't just want to call you right off the bat. So I was like, okay, yeah, they can call me at this number. So I got off the phone with him. I got on the phone with my mom. I let her know what the guy said and that he was gonna have somebody call me. Like, I kid you not, as soon as I got done explaining that to my mother, I got a phone call from the same guy that basically reached out to my mom, the same guy that she used to talk to back in the day. So he called me. He was like, you know, you don't know me, but basically he was like, did you do ancestry? And I was like, yes. He was like, he jumped straight into it. Like, he was like, basically, I'm your biological father. You have, sorry y'all, my face is shiny. He was like, you have 3 siblings. You have a brother that's 20 years old, a sister that's 15. She was 15 at the time. And a brother that's 6 years old. So I was, y'all, I don't like how I was so shocked. So I was like, what? He was like, you know, you did ancestry and we wanted to hurry up and reach out to you because we're thinking that you had already seen the notification on your end. And he basically didn't want me to see it and then hurry up and reach out to like my dad or like my mom, you know, my dad that I grew up with, or my mom. So basically I was like, yeah, I did ancestry, but I have not been on there for years because when I first started, I couldn't figure out, like, I would see some people that I recognized from my mom's side, but I didn't see anyone from my dad's side that I recognized. And so I was just like, okay, maybe it's because they didn't do ancestry on my dad's side. That's why I can't really see people who I know. And then I was like, I'm not even close with his side of the family anyway. And I really don't know a lot of their names, like their biological names. Like a lot of them have nicknames and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, maybe, that's them. I just don't know their names. So I got off ancestry. Y'all, I had went and I looked on ancestry and it sure enough said, so basically he put his daughter, my sister, he put her DNA on there on ancestry, not his. He put hers on there because him and his wife, basically they wanted to know their DNA. So they was like, instead of doing both of us each, why don't we just put our daughter on there and get both of our DNA on there? So basically he was just like, check, check, and because it said that on there. So I checked when I got off the phone with him, and it literally said it says half sister. She had the most DNA with me. I had the most DNA with her out of like everybody else it would matches you with. Because on Ancestry, a lot of times it matches you with a whole bunch of distant cousins, and it'll say, oh, 2% DNA, 4% DNA. Her and I had 30% shared DNA.
Say what?
So I was like, this is crazy. I grew up my whole life always wanting siblings, thinking I'm the only child, and so basically I called my mom immediately after I get off the phone with him.
Who's my dad?
Oh. And I told her, I said, Mommy, he's saying like basically I'm his child and that he did ancestry. The reason he knows it's confirmed is because of ancestry and that I'm popping up as his daughter's sister. So she cried. Now the reason she cried, see, a lot of y'all was trying to say slick stuff in the comments about
Hey, you want to keep doing this, but then when I come around, you don't want to post up.
this part, like y'all trying to say that my mom knew, she thought she could keep it a secret. Let me just stop y'all right there. Let's hold up. Let's go back. So first things first, I'm gonna keep it all the way real. My dad that I grew up with, we are great now, but he there were some things that could have been improved, and I'm just gonna say that my mom wouldn't like sit up there and lie and pick him as my dad knowing that another man is my dad. You know what I mean? Like if it was up to her, it probably, she probably would have chose who my biological dad is, because her and my dad that I grew up with, he's my dad, he's still my dad, but my dad that I grew up with, they didn't have the best relationship. Their relationship was crazy, terrible, if it was even really a relationship. Like they were not married, they weren't in a long relationship, they weren't like happy, they weren't, they met, they both are like into dancing and choreography, and that's how they met. That's the only thing that they could really get along with. Now they're good, they have a good relationship, for the sake of me and Kai and stuff like that. But other than that, it wasn't like how y'all are thinking, oh, your mom and your dad were probably like together or married, and then she was cheating and he was cheating, and she knew another man was your dad, and she tried to keep it on the low, and that's why she was crying and felt bad. No, that's not how it went, y'all. So a lot of y'all are loud and wrong on TikTok and coming for her, and y'all better calm down, but anyway, so yeah, basically she cried and she apologized to me. She apologized to my biological dad, and she apologized to my dad, the one that I grew up with, because she just feels like basically all of us were robbed of what could have been, so or how things should have been, maybe that's how she felt. And I just told her I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't, because I know my mother wouldn't do something like that intentionally. So I forgave her, and I told her I'm not mad at you. Yes, this is not something that I would prefer in my life. But hey, life be life, and what do you know? So, if I say one more time, I'm sorry, y'all. I just be trying to get my thoughts together. Okay, so this is a lot. Basically, this ain't even the end of the story. So this whole time, I'm just processing all of these different emotions. The emotions that I'm processing are that, number one, I had 3 siblings. I have 3 siblings and had them around in the same state as me my whole life, right? Then, not only that, I have like a grandmother and stuff that's still alive that lives in the same state of me. I have an aunt that stays in the next city over that I could have been bumping into and didn't even know she was related to me. But not only that, y'all, here's the kicker. So I'm like, dang, this guy that is my biological dad, he has the same last name as one of the guys I dated in high school. But I was like, okay, that don't mean nothing. 10 million people have the same last name but not related. Y'all went on Facebook just to search their names and each other's friends and stuff just to see, like, maybe let's see if they know each other. So yeah, turns out I dated my cousin in high school.
What?
Didn't know he was related to me. Dated him. Yeah, so you can imagine, like, yeah. So I dated him. He's my cousin. This whole time, I'm just like processing, like, oh my God. The whole time I was feeling so bad for my dad that I grew up with, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this might shatter him. Like, he thought I was his child this whole time, and I'm not. And you know, he was so excited about Kai, which is my son and stuff, which is not gonna take, I'm not saying we still can't, I'm not his child and Kai's not his grandson, but you know, it's hard hearing that someone who you thought was biologically yours is not yours. Like, let's just keep it a buck. So I just was processing this in my head, like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna tell him? Like, how is he gonna feel? I don't want to tell him. I'm not ready for this conversation. You know, I expressed to my mom that I felt like she should be the one to tell her, because you know, I felt like I'm innocent in this situation. I'm just here. I'm a product because y'all wanted to hump, so I'm just here. So, and I just felt like that's something that a conversation they should have between each other. Like, if I was in her shoes, I feel like I would express to my baby daddy, like, you know, this is not biologically your child like you thought. But anywho, so she was like, oh God, I'm not gonna say we spoke to him, we told him. She wanted to tell him, right? But at the time it was hard for her to even think about telling him, because we were still processing what we even found out. She had to think about how she was gonna tell him, when she was gonna tell him, if it was gonna be in person, because she lives in a whole nother state. When, where, how, what she's gonna say, how he's gonna react. Is he gonna say something to trigger her? Is she gonna say something to trigger him? Is it gonna end in an argument? Like, a whole bunch of stuff like that. Like, so we took some time, like, we were just thinking, like, okay, when is the best time to tell him? So as time goes by and we're trying to figure out the best time to tell him this situation, I, you know, was having conversations with my bio dad almost every day. Like, he'll call or text and check on me. We'll, you know, catch up, get to know each other a little bit. And I did express to him that I still do want to take a regular paternity test just for extra confirmation. But I'm gonna be honest, ancestry and paternity tests do the same thing. They both take your saliva. That's what happened. So, you know, he was like, if it makes you comfortable to take a paternity test for extra confirmation, I will do that for you. But he was like, I know you are my child. He said that, honestly, in the back of his mind, he's always felt like I was his child, because when him and my mom was, I don't think they really dated. They were just, you know, getting to know each other and stuff and other stuff. But they did do the deed, and he said that he when she got pregnant, he had a feeling that I could have been his, or that I was his, and he would bring it up to her and be like, so what's going on with the baby? Is it mine? Is it? And my mom genuinely thought that I was not his. She thought that I was my dad's that I grew up with, because when her and my dad that I grew up with did what grown-ups do, certain, you know how to make a baby. You know the science behind it. The sperm enters the egg. That's what she knew happened. So, well, yeah. So she genuinely thought that, since he shot the club up, I'm gonna be honest with y'all here. Okay, so since he shot the club up, she thought he was my dad. She didn't think that who's my biological dad was my dad, because she didn't know that he did anything or whatever. I don't know. Now, he basically said that he used to tell his friends that what if, or he always had a feeling that I could be his daughter or whatever. So when he seen the ancestry results, it just was all confirmation for him. And he feels like he missed out on raising me. And he does live in another state. So, I haven't met him in person yet. He said when he comes to visit, because my siblings still live in Georgia like I do. So when he comes to visit, we can all meet each other and stuff. So he told my siblings about me, and my sister, she was very, very happy, because she always wanted a sister, because she grew up thinking she only just had 2 brothers and she was the only girl. And my brother was happy too. I've spoken with them. I still speak to them today. So, I'm definitely happy about that. I don't know them. I haven't met them in person. I hope to meet them in person soon one day. I do want to get to know them. I've always wanted a sister. I've always wanted siblings, period. To know I'm the oldest is crazy. To grow up as an only child and seeing everybody else with their siblings, or they all at school together with their siblings and stuff. I used to wanted to know how that felt. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely keep y'all updated about meeting them. But guess what? The story ain't done. So, mind you, in this time frame, my mother and I have not spoken to my dad about the situation yet. So, a few weeks go by, I go out to the club with my cousin for her birthday. And I kid y'all not, the moment we sat down in our section, I get a notification on Instagram as a DM request. Mind y'all, when I get a DM request, I never really see it or realize that I have one until days later. I get a request, and it said basically, something along the lines of, hey, I don't know if you know me or not, but I'm your brother. We have the same dad. I've always known about you. Your whole life. And so I click on it and I open it, and then it was gone. So I'm like, wait a second, what? So I text him back and I said, I said, hey, I seen that message with the eyeballs. So he texts back, he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to schedule a message. I didn't mean to text you this late. I was gonna wait until tomorrow. So I'm in a club, I'm in opium. I can't even, I'm sick to my stomach, because I'm like, what do you mean? I thought, so my first thoughts were, oh, okay, maybe who's my biological dad didn't tell me about another child, or maybe he don't know he got another child. I don't know. So I was like, no, that can't be it. So I texted him, I said, do you mean your dad is, and I told him the name of my dad that I grew up with. And he was like, yeah. Y'all, I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, I can't even, I'm in here, trap music playing, strobe lights and all type of stuff, booty shaking. I'm sick to my stomach at this point, because I'm like, what is my head is spinning. What is happening? So I go to the bathroom. I'm texting him the whole time in the club. Asking him questions. I'm like, what? does he know about, I said, does he know about you? I said, do y'all have a relationship? Do y'all talk? He said he knows about me. I never spoken to him a day in my life. We've never met. He said that, you know, I can show you DNA results. I can show you child support papers. And he got the papers from his mom and did just that. He showed me the results. The DNA results were from 2011. Showed 99.99% that he's related to my dad that I grew up with. The dad who I'm thinking is my dad my whole life. So he sends me those papers and I'm like, who is your mom? Cause you know the irony about this story is that my dad usually tells me like names of all the females that he's with when I was younger, you know, stuff like that. And my mom also usually does the same thing. So when they both are telling me like the names of these individuals, like that, they've never told me about these people. So, you know, so I asked the guy, I'm like, okay, what's your mom's name? Just to see if I knew her. He told me her name and I was like, no, that don't ring a bell. But he was like, basically, I used to be around his mom when I was 2 years old, and he's 2 years younger than me. He will be 23 in August. I just turned 25 in April. So, basically, I asked him if he lived in Georgia. He doesn't live in Georgia. He used to live in Georgia. And y'all, mind y'all, we on Instagram DMing each other. I went to his Instagram page. The moment I seen his face, I was like, this is his son. Like, he looks just like my dad and one of my uncles. Like, the resemblance is there. Like, I wouldn't even have needed some DNA results. That's how it is. So I'm mind blown in the club. I'm like, so hold on. So I just found out that my dad, who I thought was my dad, is not my dad, and that I got 3 siblings by him. And then now I'm finding out that I have a sibling, even though of course by this time I'm not biologically his, but I'm finding out that I had a brother I could have known or grown up with my whole life, because mind you, those DNA results were from 2011. So I'm like, he was like, yeah, my mom, she would always tell me about you and him growing up, and she wanted to reach out to you as well, but she thought that maybe it was best that I reached out to you. He was so thoughtful. He was like, you know, I was gonna reach out to you last year, but I seen that you had a baby, so I waited till this year to tell you and let you know. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all, what is my life? I was like, okay. I was actually speechless. Mind you, I was finding this out on Father's Day, like midnight Father's Day. So while I'm finding this out, I'm just like, okay, what is the best way? I just have to talk to my dad, like the dad that I grew up with. I just have to talk to him. I ain't gonna do it today because it's Father's Day. I said I'm gonna wait and give it some time, you know. So I basically waited a couple days. I told my mom, I'm like, listen, mommy, I know you might not be ready to go ahead and tell him the news that we found out. I know we still processing it, but I think at this point it's time to lay everything out on the table, because there's no way I can come to him and ask him about this dude who's saying he's my brother without also letting him know that I found out that he's not my dad. So she was like, oh gosh. I was like, yeah, we just gotta do it. We gotta do it. So me and my mom talked with, okay, so how are we gonna map this out? So basically we decided to do it over the phone with him, because she lives in another state. So I was like, I'm gonna speak to my dad first. I'm gonna let him know about this dude who says he's my brother and all of the information that he provided me with. And I'm gonna ask him about it. And then after I ask him about it, I'm gonna let him know, hey, me and my mom have something to tell you as well. So I called my dad, like, hey daddy, what you doing? He was at home. I said, well, you know, I got something to say. He was like, what's wrong? I said, it's this guy, he's saying he's my brother and that he's known about me, and he showed me DNA results and child support papers and everything with your name on it. And he was like, he couldn't even release like he was like, send me his information, send me his contact information, like, who is it, what's his name? He was asking questions like that, and I told him, I was like, he looked just like you. And he was like, he didn't say much, he just kept asking for the guy's information. So I gave it to him, and I guess he was still processing this, so because he wasn't saying much. And I was like, well, I have some more news to tell you, but really my mom has to tell you. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm gonna add her on the phone. So I added my mom on the phone, and it was quiet at first. I think she expected me to really start it off, but no, I let her start it off. I let her say it. So my mom basically told him, she was like, you know, I've already done Ancestry and found out that unfortunately you are biologically not her father, and that it's another guy. And my dad was like, who is it, and she was explaining to him who he is and that she used to work with him and stuff like that. And she apologized to him. She was like, and I do just want to apologize to you. And mind you, this conversation went better than I thought it was gonna go, because if y'all know how, those who know like how my parents, yeah. But so he was like, listen, women emotions and men emotions are different. He was like, you know, I know you feel like you had to apologize to me, but you didn't have to apologize to me. He was like, there's times I know I could have been a better dad to Amari or whatever, but he was like, finding this out doesn't change my relationship with her or Kai, talking about my son. He was like, I'm still her dad, I'm still Kai granddad, you know, ain't changing nothing. He was like, it ain't changing nothing on my end, it ain't changing nothing on my end, at least. I was like, it ain't changing nothing on my end either. He likes to make jokes in between things. He was like, well, that nigga ain't walking you down the aisle. And I was just laughing. I'm like, so basically, he took it better than I thought he would, but he said that, you know, he was just getting over but he got over depression, a 2-year depression. And he was like, basically, he can't let nothing bring him back down to that point. So, you know, he just basically keeping the positivity. And, you know, I told him, I was like, yeah, I agree. So yeah, nothing's gonna change with our relationship. However, I did say, you know, it did take us a lot to come out here and tell you this and be honest with you. So I want you to be honest with me as well. And I asked him, I said, did you know about the other boy who's saying he's my brother? And he was like, I'm not even gonna act like I don't know his mom. I used to mess with her, and when she was pregnant, I thought another guy was her son's dad. He didn't think it was him. And so my mom asked him if he remembered taking the DNA results and taking DNA tests, and he was like, no. But I don't know. But he said no, he didn't remember that, and he said he really thought somebody else was his dad. I said, well, are you gonna reach out to him? And he said that he was. And I was like, can you find yourself having a relationship with him? Because I just feel like that's important. I feel like every man needs that. Like, I don't know. I'm not a man, but I just feel like if it could go my way, that's how I would want it. But it ain't about me and how I want it to go. Life don't happen like that. And so I also did ask the guy who was saying he's my brother. I asked him, would you care to have a relationship with my dad? He was like, you know, basically it would kind of, he just feels like, well, you know, he hasn't been spoken to from my dad his whole life. He hasn't, you know, their relationship has never been acknowledged. So he's just like, you know, I asked him if he at least had a father figure growing up, and he did. Since he was in 3rd grade, he did. So that was good. I was glad to hear that for him. And so, but the thing is, he was like, you know, but I, you know, still want to be your brother, because I let him know. I was like, listen, I just found out that our dad is not my biological dad. And he was like, but I still want to get to know you as my sister. And I was like, I'm down for that. We can do that. Like, I'm open to having that. So it's like, now I went from thinking I have 0 siblings to I have 4. So I'm happy about that. I'm glad. And I'm the oldest out of all of them. Like, I'm all of their big sisters. Like, I love that. So basically, everything is kind of still up in the air right now. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, if certain relationships are gonna be like, I don't know if my dad is gonna want to build a relationship with him or not. If he wants to build a relationship with my dad, I don't know. And then I still have to meet and get to know my biological family. So that's where we're at right now. I've always grew up feeling like I didn't belong in my family, or feeling like confused, or like the outcast, like, or that I felt like I didn't really have like that close-knitted family that a lot of people that I knew have. Like, I'll go to my friend's house and they have a big family reunions cooking. They got their grandma, great-great-grandma, aunties, like close cousins. I was, Kai's crying. His dad got him. I grew up, you know, always wanted to know my family, which is why I did Ancestry. So now that y'all know the details, I gotta go be a mom. Let me know if y'all have any more questions. I think I answered everything. I think I let y'all know what there is to be known. If I'm missing something, I will make another video. And that concludes the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Bye, lovelies.
Am I really that much? And breaking these niggas down like a camera. You don't really know you are.